And basically, Dominic is going to wrap up the forum and provide a perspective on innovation from ICMM, the International Council of Minerals and Metals, and perhaps tie a few of these things together. It's my pleasure to introduce Dominic Fragomeni. Dominic, as you saw earlier, attending the AGM, is a board member of CMIC as of today. He's also a mineral processor with 30 years experience in operations management, technology implementation, and business leadership. He was very recently appointed VP Strategic Innovation at Glencore Nickel, with a focus on innovation in the mine-mill interface. Prior to that, he was the VP at Glencore XBS for the last 8 years, leading a team of specialists doing with clients around the world in 25 countries. He's got lots of operational experience as well from Hemlo Gold, Brunswick Mining, Falconbridge Kid Creek, Strathcona Raglan. And Dominic is passionate about operations performance excellence and supporting collaborative innovation, a key phrase we've been hearing during this whole session today. And he's an active member in several CMIC projects, as I mentioned, a board member, chair of Merarco, board of directors, and a board member of this Goodman School of Mines. Dominic, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Carl. Can you hear me okay?
We're fine, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks again, Carl, and congratulations to all of the presenters today. I think just a fabulous job. You see some just great opportunity and examples of collaboration. As several of the presenters mentioned, I think that's one of the secrets of success. You know, the success is at the speed of trust, as Rob mentioned, also a very, very good message to send. So congratulations to all the presenters. I hope everyone, their families, fellow employees, all the attendees are safe and healthy during these rather unusual and unprecedented times. And I ask for your continued patience for the next few minutes as being last on the agenda, and I hope that Zoom fatigue hasn't set in yet. Maybe a few people hungry through lunch, but I look forward to presenting this topic to you this afternoon. Glencore is actively contributing in a number of CMIC projects, as you saw from some of the presentations this morning, but really here today to talk about the ICMM initiative, the Track 1 aspirational goal to reduce the impact of tailings. And it ties into a lot of the technologies that have already been presented, and you'll see that through the course of the presentation. I guess from my own personal experience, there's huge opportunities to not only reduce the negative impact of tailings and also license to operate, but potentially and positively influence some of the business cases of our new and existing mining projects. Can I get to the next slide, please? Or is it my control?
You're controlling it, Dominic.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Carl. Just a little bit on the ICMM. ICMM is made up of 27 of the world's leading mining and metals companies, of course, including Glencore. Collectively, 27 companies produce about a third of the commodities in copper, gold, iron ore, nickel, and platinum. Along with the mining companies, ICMM also has 30 association members, and CMIC is a recent addition to that. And I think the fit it can be really synergistic. I suggested to the ICMM subcommittee that we're working on this particular initiative that although this is a very much an international effort, that we should use CMIC's success to connect industry needs with the Canadian innovation ecosystem. And that's part of the reason for this presentation this afternoon, to sort of lever that success. On the call with us this afternoon is Diane Tang Lee and Veronica Martinez, both with the ICMM, that have been mentoring this process of Track 1 with the rest of the mining companies. So they may have, if you have any questions specifically on ICMM, I think they'd be happy to answer them. Also on the line are several other members of the subcommittee, Frank Roberto from Newmont, Tom Stufco, Freeport, and Percio Rosario and Carlos Lozano from Hatch. Jan Kwak, who's really led the initiative from the Hatch side, is based in Brisbane, so I guess unable to join us this afternoon, pretty late there, along with Jadiv Prasad from Rio and Dave Cochran from South 32. Couldn't make it, but did provide quite a bit of good input for the messaging for this afternoon. So I thank them for their contributions. On the ICMM side, you can pull this off their website, and you can sort of read through some of these bullet points. But in order to be a member of ICMM, the companies are required to commit to these 10 principles, and I think it aligns extremely well, as you'll see from the track 1 tailings inspirational goal. So where are we? There's if we go back to 2018, the ICMM member companies and their CEOs articulated their aspirational goal to work collectively to establish superior, safe, and cost-effective alternatives to conventionally managed TSFs over the next 10 to 15 years. Of course, primarily, but not exclusively, to reduce the risk of catastrophic failure. It was recognized for real sustainable solutions, we cannot conduct this work in isolation. And we believe the best solutions are created through collaborating and engaging with other groups in the mining sector and outside the mining sector, including academics, investors, and other industry representatives, technology suppliers, and providers. And again, the connection to CMIC obviously is key here. For a very long time, the industry has accepted that it needs to have access to effective alternatives to conventionally wet tailings impoundment areas and large tailings dams. And we believe now is the time to act. The main topic of this presentation is the track 1, and you can see there are 3 tracks with this aspirational goal, and that's really technologies to reduce and eliminate tailings. Just for some background, in Hatch's first landscape review, it became very clear that the amount of tailings that the mining industry is producing is not declining, and really driven by ore grades along with other factors. And it's increased by almost 40% within the last decade. As ore grades drop and conventional technologies are in play, the problem is likely going to get worse. Or, putting it the other way, the opportunity is increasing. Recent tailings dam failures and their impacts have underlined the need to pursue these alternatives and the technologies and minimize these in the future. So clearly, there's a business need here. So where are we now in the effort? Over the last year, there were 2 workshops held with member companies, one in March and one in November. As part of that effort, Hatch was commissioned to review over 90 technologies that could essentially impact on this aspirational goal. With input from the subcommittee formed by Anglo Ashanti, Freeport, Glencore, Newmont, Rio, and South 32, we're in the process now of doing a deep dive and a prioritization of some of these technologies. And some of the technology themes and some of the specific technologies are listed in this table. You can have a read through them. Based on the TRL level, the impact on tailings reduction, and the time frame to commercialization, we're in the process of prioritizing. Now, there's a lot of work going on internationally, and the goal is, of course, to encourage collaboration and plugging into existing efforts and existing projects, because we believe the solutions are out there. The goal is aspirational, so therefore clear expectations are required. Most of us on the committee are operations people, and we do understand that although the technology may exist and that it's technically feasible, its application and its business case is actually quite site specific, but it's not stopping us from pursuing some of these opportunities. Of course, the communication is key to be sure that expectations are managed. Many of the technologies are enablers and should be combined to get maximum benefit. For example, precision geology and geometallurgy is fundamental to many of these themes and underpins a lot of the success of implementation. We also realize that the potential benefits are even outside tailings reduction, such as less waste, less energy, and potentially lower capital costs. So the end result could be reduced environmental impact, but potentially lower CapEx, lower OpEx, lower energy and water consumption, and overall improved business cases. We recognize that the biggest impact occurs at the mine face, and this is no trivial task. Looking at new mine designs, managing waste in an underground environment is not simple, but we're looking at those as potential opportunities. We're also looking at some of the synergies between the technologies and the themes. For example, preferential fracturing, continuous mining, and then potentially sorting, and rock conditioning could be combined to produce the ultimate benefit. They're all consistent with the underlying principles of waste and risk management hierarchy. And of course, this aligns well with the ICMM and the member companies' objectives. Where are we on the schedule? Well, it's been a challenge to advance, but we're on track. We're currently doing the deep dive. We're looking through some of the technologies and where they fit, and of course, trying to prioritize, trying to pick the ones that have the biggest impact. The late stage technologies, TRL6 and above, that have potential broad impact, both within and across commodity, and those that are having significant constraints, maybe the ones we prioritize as priority one. Some of the technologies that are commercially available, but perhaps not adopted in the mining industry. These can be communicated to member companies through B2B and other sessions. We need to leave room for novel ideas and early stage concepts. So they need to be considered as well. And where they fit in the schedule is yet to be defined. Technologies that exist, but have not been adopted in the mining industry. And I think many of us that have worked in the industry over the last few years have seen these types of successes. So we want to keep an eye on what's going on outside the industry as well. So you can see that communication of the goal and the need across the industry requires a level of collaboration and communication. So part of today's session is to give the member companies an indication of what direction we're going, and obviously reach out and be sure that the technology that you're working on are aware of and the potential application is on the landscape review, and that the subcommittee and the member companies in the subcommittee can consider them in terms of participation. And I think CMIC plays a real key role in this. Really pleased to see CMIC now a member of the ICMM and being able to connect the Canadian innovation ecosystem and some of these great vendor companies that are producing the technology, some of the collaborative efforts that you've heard about this morning, some of them key to reduce tailings, to be able to connect back to the ICMM and to this initiative. So if you have a technology that it can impact on this track one aspirational goal, please reach out. I put Carl's name here, Carl, so hopefully you get an inbox full of emails from various organizations that may or may not be on the register. And also Diane with the ICMM in London as well. And I think these presentations will be made available to the broader group. So you'll be able to see those as we close up the session today.
Awesome, thank you, Dominic.
That's all I had, Carl. Yeah.
Awesome, that was great. Dominic and Diane, we don't have any questions for you, so what I'm going to do, thank you very much, Dominic, for giving the ICMM perspective. That's great, and as you say, hopefully we'll get our inboxes full of emails to try and get more global participation on this collaborative innovation.